Hey everyone, I'm Dan from JazzComposersPresent.com, an online space where composers, musicians, and listeners come together to celebrate the music we love. I'm joined today by Dave Young, multi-Juno-winning bassist, composer, bandleader, and Order of Canada recipient. Dave is joining us to share some tips on composing music centered around the bass.
Thanks, Dan, for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate that. As a bass player, I'm always aware of the melody that's being played and who is playing the melody, oddly enough. For me, I think the melody is the strongest point of the music that I play. So as you can imagine, solos become my main expression of melody. Doesn't matter the harmonic structure, rhythmic feel, tempo feel, time signature, dynamics, they all tend to support a melody. Let's listen to a couple of examples featuring the bass as the soloist. The first example up for me is Mile High Samba, which was a composition written at least 20 years ago at this point. And it's done with a trio setting. The piano intro sets up the mood of the samba, and the melody is then taken on by the bass. So you have to be careful of the range, I think, of the bass and where you're going to have him play the melody. So the register really is crucial. And I generally say there's a 2-octave range between low C on the A string and high C on the G string. You can play a melody in that range and have it come out reasonably well. So the bass starts, plays the first section, and at the bridge, which is probably letter B on our lead sheet, the piano takes over the melody, and the bass makes a transition to playing time. And similarly, the last 16 bars, the piano just goes back to the comping situation, and the bass plays the melody out. So let's give a listen to the samba. It's good to remind yourself that the bass has to make those transitions from melody to accompaniment and then back to melody. So anything that the bass player can do to make that transition smooth is definitely required. And also take note that the drums are fairly low key and they're not busy. They're just keeping time in a discrete way and adding to the final result. Okay, our next example is a piece written for quintet, trumpet and tenor, plus the rhythm section. This is entitled Cherokee Sketches, and it is based on the well-known song Cherokee by Ray Noble. In the introduction to this piece, the piano and bass and drums set up this rhythmic thing, this pattern that kind of sets the mood. It's kind of a little bit of an outside feel to it, and the tenor and trumpet come in and play a short introduction together. Once we hit letter A, there's a stop time, and the trumpet and tenor play a unison line. And the rhythm section, the three of us are kind of playing this orchestrated accompaniment. And I find for this kind of a piece, you have to have a fair amount written out just to make the whole thing work. So the chord changes are basically substitute changes that I've come up with for the tune Cherokee. And when we get to the bridge, we really rely on that. We go to a heavy pedal 2 and 4 feel, and the lines play, they continue their unison line, but we're simplifying the bridge a lot. And rather than going into that ferocious time thing in the old tune of 4/4, we're basically just playing a simple 2/4 pedal through the bridge. Then when we come back to letter C, it's the same stop time effect, and the trumpet and tenor take the melody to the end, and then we go into solos. So I would probably comment, just one comment is that you try and make each section build to the next section. And that, I don't know whether I knowingly did that, but each section does build a little bit. So finally, when you get to the solo section, you have a level of excitement that is, you don't have to generate in your solo section. It's already there. So you just launch into the solos and go for it. So with that in mind, Cherokee Sketches. It succeeds in the fact that it's exciting and it's orchestrated, and the bass is playing he's playing a prominent role in the whole thing. From that, let's move over to something that's probably more in the straight eighths style of playing, and it's a piece I wrote not too long ago. It's entitled Bass Clef, and it basically is a unison line that I play first with the tenor sax and then with the trumpet. So the introduction features the piano, and please note the piano performance throughout this whole head is really quite amazing, actually, that he covers the rhythm, he covers the chord changes, and he really reinforces the rhythm of the melody. For the whole thing. So between the piano and the drums, they're covering the trio, because I'm only playing the melody. So let's give a listen to Bass Clef. Our last example is something that I've entitled We Three, and this dates from at least 20 years ago as well. This piece features a trio in a pretty loose setting. And I think that the first chorus is bass solo, but he's not playing the melody. He's just sort of hinting at the melody. The piano is accompanying the bass all the time, and certainly, as I've mentioned before, he's not too busy. He doesn't overcomp. He's actually a saxophone player. His name is Phil Dwyer, and he just knows how to put the chords there in a discreet way. So I play the melody on the last chorus, which is about 5 minutes or so into the track. And then you finally realize that this is the melody, and the rest of it was all improvised. So let's give a listen to this track. This is We Three. The register is high for the bass in this particular melody, but it comes through and is reinforced, on several occasions by the piano, because he obviously has the melody as well. But he's just watching it go by, and he really strengthens it when it's too high from the, because it's up to I think a high D, maybe a high E on the G string, which is a bit high. But the singing quality is there, and that's what's important. So it's quite a haunting piece, and that was one of my favorite ones. With that in mind, thanks very much for watching, and see you the next time.
Thanks for watching today's mini lesson. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Drop any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos in the comment section down below. To watch our full-length events and participate in live Q&As with our presenting artists, head over to jazzcomposerspresent.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.